It's easier sometimes to just take away an option. Like, let me just take this option away. I would rather regret getting rid of it than continue to regret not going. I'd rather just regret it and say, wow, I really missed that. I'd rather that. Because then I can make a decision in the future.
Learn how to face your fears internally in advance. A lot of my coaching has to do with that. It's what's the fear here? And then let's discuss it, let's identify it, let's feel it, and let's mourn it in advance. If that were to happen, would you be okay?
Next Level Nation, welcome back to another episode of Next Level University, where we help you level up your life, your love, your health, and your wealth. We hope you enjoyed yesterday's episode number 1716. Saying yes opens you up to more yeses. Today, for episode number 1717, I didn't come up with a title. Let's see. I don't know if this will be the title, but sometimes, this won't be because it's going to be super long. Sometimes one of the reasons change is so hard is because we're afraid to admit what that change means about us. So again, I'll come up with a shorter title for the actual episode. That's a long one.
Longest one we've ever had right there.
Yeah, I would say so. Oh, who knows? In the beginning, we were out here winging it, so it's very possible that that's not. So Alan and I met a few minutes before recording this episode, and I said, "Hey, man, I think I'm gonna cancel jiu-jitsu." And he said, "Why?" And I said, "I just don't. I think I jumped the gun a little bit. I was super excited to find a gym, and I tried it, and I am in love with it. I enjoy it very much, but I'm just not at the stage right now where I can commit to being somewhere at a certain time, X amount of times per week. I don't have that flexibility yet." And we just changed our schedules from our first call being at 11 to 10, and that kind of jeffs it. So I don't think right now is the best time for me to do it. And I can just go back to the boxing room at the gym that I go to. I love kickboxing. I probably like kickboxing more than I like jiu-jitsu, honestly. But I can do that whenever I want. I can do that at 6 o'clock in the morning. I can do that at 9 o'clock at night. I can do it whenever I want. So that works better. But I told Alan, I said, I think one of the things that made it hard for me to make the decision, and this all happened today. I made the decision this morning. It came to me. I said, yeah, that's fair. Okay, I'm done. I tend to operate pretty quickly. But I was thinking, well, what does this mean about me? I told Derek, shout out to Derek if he's listening, that I was going to do a grappling competition with him on August 10th. And I messaged him today and I said, hey, man, I'm sorry if I let you down, but I got to do what's right for me. And he said, no, man, you're good. Like, you're good. Do not worry about it at all. And I'm very grateful for that. But there was a piece of me that was afraid that he would think I let him down. So it was more, what does this mean about me, than it was the logistics of it, the saving the money, the having more time now in my schedule. It was more, well, I'm supposed to be the martial arts guy. I'm the one who's been talking about being so passionate about jiu-jitsu, and now I'm not going to do it? Mm-hmm. What's that going to look like? Am I going to look like a hypocrite? And I think sometimes that's the hardest part about change. It's not always the physical aspect of changing. I think oftentimes it's, what is the physical aspect of changing going to mean about me, or what is it going to look like about me? What is it going to make me look like if I do this? So, yeah, I thought it would be a timely episode to do based on new information.
We did an RT relationship talks event a while back, and there was a term that came up that I didn't fully understand. I remember we were actually on a coaching session with a couple that we coach, and the male in the relationship personalizes everything. Excuse me, I had to burp. And I had never learned this term, and I just tried to look it up. That's actually why it looked like I wasn't paying attention to you. I was trying to look it up, and apparently personalization is obviously something in an industry where you personalize a product or service. So there's like a business version. So anyways, I looked up the wrong one. The point is we did an RT event, and Emilia, one of the slides is the definition of personalization. And it essentially means that you personalize something, meaning Kev is talking about what he's going through and growing through with whether or not he wants to do jiu-jitsu. We're going to save money. It's hard to be at a time and place specifically with our crazy schedules, XYZ. And I'm sitting there going, what does this mean about the 10-pound and 10-week challenge? Because that's what happens in
We
relationships.
haven't announced that yet, by the way. So nobody knows what you're talking about.
Oh. So Kevin and I, this is the second time we've ever done this. And the first time was interesting because I ended up doing a marathon to try to make weight. We're doing a 10-pound and 10-week challenge. So August 10th is the date? August 10th. Okay, so on August 10th, Kevin has promised me, and now all of you, that he will weigh in at 10 pounds lighter than he is now.
169.9. Yes.
And I will weigh in at 184.9. Or, 185 or lower. If I hit 185, it counts. Hopefully I won't cut it that close, right? But anyway, so the moment that Kev was talking about the jiu-jitsu thing, I immediately in my brain went, okay, so he's not going to do the jiu-jitsu gym. We're going to save money. That's great. Is he still going to do the competition? And if he doesn't do the competition, is he still going to do this 10-pound and 10-week challenge with me? Because I was really excited about that. And the thing is if you've ever met someone who makes everything about them, all human beings do that just to a different extent. So I immediately took myself out of myself, and then I was there for Kev. This all happened in very short time. But once I got certainty that you were still doing the 10-pound and 10-week challenge, all of a sudden now I can fully be present and there for you. But how many times does that happen in relationships? Where I'll say something about business, and then immediately it's like, well, what does that mean for me, though? You know?
Yeah.
And so I just think it's important to admit that about ourselves. And to, more importantly than anything, is when I learned personalization and I saw this couple, and I adore this couple. This couple's great. But the female would be giving the male feedback in real time, even if it's gratitudes. And he would internalize it as a negative thing. What does this mean about me? And then he couldn't really give gratitude back, and it was not a good feedback loop. So for all of our listeners watching or listening to this, how often are you personalizing things would be the value that I would add in this episode. And to your point, Kev, you mentioned, what does this mean about me? What does this mean about my identity? What are people going to think? Think about all the fears that stack up the moment you even consider change.
Yeah. Well, here's the other interesting thing. If you want to do something, so let's say for me it was really hard for me to go to the gym. The best thing to do would be to attach someone else to it, because I don't want to let that person down. But if you don't want to do something, the last thing you should do is attach someone else to it, because you might end up doing something you don't want to do for someone else. Mm-hmm. I got very familiar feels today, because you may know, you may not know, I did a bodybuilding show back in 2018, I think. No. Sorry, 2015. Long time ago. It was a long time ago. That was 10 years ago almost. Oh my goodness gracious. I did a bodybuilding show in, I think it was 2015, 2015, that time frame. And I just hated it. When I was done, I was miserable, and I was unhealthy. I was on my shirt. A little fluff on my shirt. I was unhealthy. My mental health was terrible. My physical health was terrible. My physiological health, everything. It was bad. But I decided the next year I was going to do another show. One of the reasons I decided to do that is because I kind of felt like that was part of my identity. When I was doing bodybuilding, what do you think I was watching? Bodybuilding. I was watching bodybuilding interviews. I was listening to motivational music and motivational videos. I was surrounding myself with bodybuilders. I had a bodybuilding coach. That became my identity. So,
what was the name of that Netflix documentary you sent me?
Generation
I remember
Iron.
way back. No, not that one. There was another one. It was more about physique that you sent me. Greg Plitt was in it.
Oh, I don't remember the name of it.
Perfect Physique or something like that?
Something like that.
Yeah. But I remember you were the one who recommended I watch that. I did enjoy it.
I think I did the bodybuilding thing first in our group.
Agreed. You did.
And that became part of the identity too. So I decided I was going to do another show. One of the reasons is Matt, who you've heard many times on the show, he said, hey man, let's do a show together. You've already done a show. I've always wanted to do one. You know what it's like. Let's do it. And I was like, all right, man, that's awesome. Let's do that. That'll be awesome. Like, what a unique bonding experience that'll be. And I don't know, I was probably like 4 weeks in, and I remember I just was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't think this is good for me. I don't think this is physically good for me. And I had a cheat meal. My coach gave me a cheat meal, and I think it was like steak, potatoes. This is my cheat meal. Steak, potatoes, broccoli, and then he said you can have a half a pint of Ben & Jerry's. It's like, oh yeah, okay, cool. So I had half a pint.
Talk about willpower.
Yeah, and I'm sure I measured it out.
You ever been a half a pint deep in Ben & Jerry's and then stopped?
That day I did. I won't say I stopped. I delayed. So I ended up going to bed. I was like, all right, cool. I'm done. I'm ready for bed. And I remember I was just laying in bed, and I couldn't sleep, and I was so hungry, and I was like starting to get depressed again. And I was like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. So I don't know what time it was, but I texted my coach and was like, hey, man, I'm not doing it. I can't do it. This is going to kill me if I do this again. I'm not doing it. I can't do this. I texted Matt and said, hey, man, vulnerable share. I didn't even know what that meant at the time. I don't think I can do this.
I didn't even know what that meant at the time.
I didn't at the time.
Did you actually
miserable.
Say that?
No.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
miserable. Last time I was like suicidal when I got to the end of this. I don't think this is healthy for me. And I want to do it for you, but I don't know if I can do it for me. And that ended up being okay. He understood. I think he was sad, obviously. Mm-hmm. But then I went downstairs. I finished the pint of Ben & Jerry's. Because it's almost like I needed to put a close to it before I overthought it. Like, I'm going to send an email today to my coach saying I need to cancel. Because if I wait too long, I won't do it. Because the emotion of this will leave and the logic of this will leave, and then it will be like, well, let's try again. I know I'm not going to be able to do it. I won't say I'm not going to be able to do it. I know I won't do it. There's too many options up in the air. Do I go for a run? Do I go to jiu-jitsu? Do I weight train? Well, I really want to weight train, but today's the only day I can go to jiu-jitsu, so I got to go to jiu-jitsu. What if I don't want to? What if I want to weight train?
Yeah, being locked into a schedule is challenging.
It's very challenging.
Especially when most of our life is already that way.
I was going to say, especially somebody whose number one core value is freedom. Mm-hmm. Like being able, time freedom and location freedom. I can work anywhere in the world because I don't have to go to an office. My schedule is very crazy, but that's okay. It's still in the hours that I want to work, and I get to work from home. So I had that familiar feeling today of like, oh, am I going to let Derek down? And he was super, super kind and super supportive. And he said, dude, you're good. Don't worry about it. But that was a piece of it. And then what does this mean about my identity? Are people going to look at me differently? Like when I text my coach and tell him I'm going to cancel, is he going to look at me differently? Maybe.
What would it mean if he looked at you differently, though? That's the thing is, let's get to the fears.
That I let him down.
What would that mean?
That I was.
Amelia does this with me all the time. I love it.
No, you're good.
It's so because this is, and for the listeners watching or listening, this isn't about Kev. It isn't just about Kev. You can dig into what the fear is. You can just say, well, what would that mean? What would that mean? What would that mean? Eventually, you get to the root fear.
Not good enough.
Not good enough, right?
Yeah, I think that would be the ultimate fear.
Which is the deepest fear. And now what we can do is that true? Does that have any actual truth?
Not logically, no.
Yeah, but that's the thing, these emotions.
Yeah.
These emotions. We did an episode a while back on defective versus unlovable and the exile and all that stuff, but essentially what it means is not good. 2 buckets. One bucket is not smart enough, not good looking enough, not tall enough, not capable enough. The other bucket is unlovable. You don't fit in. You don't feel like you're likable. People lash out at you for no reason all the time. You feel like an outcast, that kind of stuff. I'm on that end. Kev's on the not good enough end. And at the end of the day, both of them are emotional, not rational. And they're usually built when we're very young.
Yeah.
NLU listener, what is happening? I just wanted to jump in here and let you know if you want to get to the next level faster, we have a free virtual monthly meetup at the first Thursday of every month, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. You can connect with like-minded people and become a bigger part of this amazing global community. The link to register will be in the show notes.
Well, I think it's one of those things where you got to be brave in the direction that you know you need to be brave in. And then you can dig and figure out, okay, what does this actually mean? Because I thought that too. Why is this going to be so hard? I don't like quitting stuff. I have a tattoo that says never quit. I don't like quitting stuff. I'm not quitting. I'm going to end up going back at some point in the future. It's just right now is not the right time. And I think the other piece
How long
of it
have you
is
felt this way?
today.
Just today.
Yeah,
Was
today.
there any pangs earlier of F this? I don't want to do jiu-jitsu right now. Or is it just today?
Today. No, it's today. Because I woke up. Today's Tuesday. Usually today would be a day where I would go do open mat. And I love open mat. I do. I love it. I love the people there. It's awesome. The gym's amazing. Everything's awesome. But I wanted to lift. I haven't lifted in 2 weeks. I want to lift.
Damn
I want
right.
to get in the gym and lift.
Nice.
Okay, so I'm going to go to jiu-jitsu once this week?
Yeah, and the money thing too. It's like a lot of money.
It's
for
160
barely using it.
Yeah,
it's also the guilt of you
month.
not using it.
That's a piece of it.
That's a piece of it too, right?
It's easier sometimes to just take away an option. Like, let me just take this option away. I would rather regret getting rid of it than continue to regret not going.
I know.
I'd rather just regret it and say, wow, I really missed that. I'd rather that.
Isn't
Because
it
then I can
interesting
make
how?
a decision in the future.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
Isn't it interesting how it took a lot of courage for you to sign up for jiu-jitsu? Invest the money, go meet new people, roll on the mat with people that are black belts, all this stuff, and then how much courage it took to cancel. Isn't it so? Courage is, you can't win at anything without courage. Like,
I think it takes more to cancel.
Really?
Yeah, I think it takes
Either
more to
way,
cancel.
I just don't know if, I never used to, dude, growing up, I don't know about you, but I didn't learn about courage at all. No one taught me anything about courage.
Yeah, same.
You think about if you don't have any courage, meaning you can't face fears, you pretty much are stuck forever. Everything that really moves the needle requires some courage. It took courage to sign up. It takes even more courage to cancel it. You can't make any changes or transformations without courage. That's so obvious to me now. When I was younger, I didn't understand that at all. Because I don't think a lot of people identify that it's fear.
Yeah,
I think they identify, XYZ. I think they rationalize. When deep underneath it is, I'm afraid to not be good enough, or I'm afraid to look bad, or,
Well, I think
Even
it's
right
really,
there. Go ahead.
it's really hard for people to talk about stuff that they're not admitting that they're experiencing. That's always been one of the goals for me with this show, and every interview I do, every show I do, everything I do, I always try to admit the truth. Because how am I going to help you? If I've never experienced imposter syndrome, why would you ever listen to what I have to say about imposter syndrome? I think I probably experience it. I know I experience it more than your average bird. I do. Because I'm thrown into positions that I'm not ready for. Alan and I were talking about me going to Toronto to be with Evan Carmichael. I'm nervous about that for sure. I've been doing this for 7 years. We calculated yesterday I have 2,800 episodes or something total.
Yeah.
I'm still nervous. 2,800 episodes, or whatever it was, 25, 26. That's a lot of episodes. I'm still nervous.
I think
don't
most
think that's
guys would
bad.
get macho and not admit that.
Well, the problem with getting macho and not admitting it is I think that hurts you more behind the scenes.
Yeah, it does.
The fall is higher from I'm the man to like I'm really freaking out. For me, I don't think the fall is as high because I just admit I'm nervous. Yeah, I'm nervous. I think it's going to go fine, which is believe it or not, that's a step up. In the past, it would be I'm nervous that it's going to go horribly. That's not what it is now. I'm nervous that I'm going to be outside of my comfort zone. And this is something I've never done before. I think that's totally normal. Of course you're nervous before a first date. You don't know this person. You've never met this person. There's anxiety. What do I talk about? Do we talk about the weather? Do I tell this person I want to marry them? Probably not, but maybe.
Do I tell them I don't want to ever get married like I did with my first girlfriend?
Right. Yeah,
funny.
There's a lot of things up in the air.
I think it's big. I think it's really big that you do that. I think most men and again, I'll just speak for men, but I don't think they usually admit that they're afraid. I think it's not macho to admit you're afraid. I don't know where that came from.
I think it's the most macho thing.
I know, so do I. It's just,
Right?
where did it come from where being completely unafraid and unfazed about anything is like strength? When in reality, behind the scenes, you are literally freaking out, like pooping yourself.
Watch a superhero movie. Which
I
one
know.
are you going to rather watch? You Captain America or Captain Kev? Who's
Yeah.
like, you think we can make that jump? I don't know, man. I really think we should we should really think about that versus somebody who's like, we might die here, but let's do it. We got this. That's not me. I'm not that guy.
It's so
No.
funny. It's so funny. I think your fears are either external or internal. Yours tend to be the external stuff. Like
say so.
canceling jujitsu, that kind of thing. But what does it mean about you internally too? So they're connected as well. But I think that's big. I do. Courage is necessary for anything. Even simple stuff like that. We're talking about canceling a jujitsu membership.
Yeah.
How many people are doing things they don't want to do and or not doing things they do want to do out of fear? Most things. I mean, yeah, maybe it was aligned when you were 20 or 25. What if you're 37 now, still doing the same thing with the same person, and you are just too afraid to? The fear of change, man, huge. Fear of change is such a massive box we put ourselves in. So,
Well, I think that's a good lesson. Is when you're afraid of change, is it because you're afraid that you're not going to be able to handle it? Is it because the change is going to be outside of alignment with your core values? Is it because you feel like you're going backwards? You have imposter syndrome because it means something about you that you're not ready to admit? I think that's a really good takeaway for this episode.
I got to read something super fast. It's not
Please.
long. It's not long.
I never believe when you say that.
Yeah, I know. I understand why, man. There's a lot of evidence to the contrary.
Right.
All right, so there was a client of mine who admitted and didn't macho up and admitted she was super scared. And I gave this list. I wrote this list out for her. I said, number one, feel the fear. Number one, feel the fear. Feel the fear. Okay, number one, feel the fear. It's a tough one. Number two, admit it's fear. Number three, don't rationalize it away as if it's something else. Most people royally F this up. I actually wrote that. Number four, think through whether or not it's actually dangerous. Think through whether or not it's actually dangerous. It almost never is. Like you canceling jujitsu, I can't talk right now, is not dangerous.
No.
There's no actual physical danger, but yet your amygdala, your brain, you're freaking out. What does this mean? Am I going to be okay? I'm going to be okay? I cannot talk today. Number five, detach from outcome and mourn the loss of worst case scenario in advance. Okay, what's the worst case scenario when you cancel jujitsu?
Like absolute worst case?
Yeah.
I don't even know. They put me
The
up on
coach
a
is
wall
like,
of
come on,
shame
man, you
somewhere.
really let me down. Yeah,
Yeah,
you put
that.
up on a wall of shame
Yeah.
somewhere.
These are the
Kevin
people who didn't
Palmieri.
make it.
Yeah, they put you up on the wall. This is the quit kid.
They don't really, but yeah,
I know.
that would be the
Okay.
worst case scenario. Is they make a special exception for me.
Our brains can come up with all kinds of stuff. It's so funny. And then number six, say F it, feel the fear, and do it anyways. And then number seven, gain new awareness, self-respect, confidence, and self-esteem when it almost always goes even better than you thought it would. Those are the 7 steps. Feel the fear, admit it's fear, don't rationalize it away as if it's something else, because most people do that. That's where they screw up.
Yeah.
They pretend it's not fear. Of course it is. Think through whether or not it's actually dangerous. Almost never is. Detach from the outcome, mourn the loss of worst case scenario in advance. So just, if they were to put you up on the wall of shame, you would still be okay. Even though that's ridiculous, they aren't going to do that. Say F it, feel the fear, and do it anyways. And then you gain new awareness, self-respect, confidence, and self-esteem. And most importantly, new awareness. You will learn things you never would have learned. Imagine if you had never had the courage to even start jiu-jitsu. And this is the thing. I don't know why I can't say that word. Last thing. This is the last thing for me. You needed courage to sign up. And when you signed up, you learned a bunch of stuff. Met new people, learned a bunch of stuff. We talked about it on this show a bunch.
Yep.
All new expansion. Then it requires even more courage to leave. This is why I'm convinced people are not more successful. When you go to the next level, it gets harder, not easier. It requires more courage, not less. So every domino of courage that you knock down, you're going to need even more courage next domino. Like we talked about yesterday, we have more clients than we've ever had, but we've also lost more clients than we used to lose. It's like your ability to handle failure needs to come up in tandem with your ability to create success. And I think that each next level comes with a new level of responsibility and potential failure and potential embarrassment and potential judgment and potential... So all of it is, you kind of just have to learn how to face your fears internally in advance. A lot of my coaching has to do with that. It's what's the fear here? And then let's discuss it, let's identify it, let's feel it, and let's mourn it in advance. If that were to happen, would you be okay? And they go, yeah, I guess so. Well, and then after that, they do the thing. And that opens up a whole new fear. It opens up a whole new... Yeah. My coaching sounds awful.
It does, yeah.
It opens up a whole new opportunity, which then comes with another level of fear. And I think in our life, we think, oh, when I get to a certain point, I won't be afraid. That is not true at all.
Not if you're growing. Look, you know how long I've been waiting for an opportunity to do what I'm going to go do in Toronto? I've been waiting for a long time for that opportunity. Long time. But it doesn't mean it doesn't scare the poop out of me.
Yeah.
Of course it does. It's an opportunity that I've been waiting for, and you know why I didn't get it? Because I wasn't ready yet. Mm-hmm. And you know why I'm scared? Because I'm not fully ready. I'm as close to ready as I can be. It's not like I'm not capable. But when I say I'm not ready, I'm just not familiar with the turf yet. I don't know what it's like. That's all. There's uncertainty there. There's uncertainty of logistics and circumstances.
You've given podcast speeches without me before?
Yes.
Right? Virtual trainings and stuff like that?
Mm-hmm. And thousands of coaching calls. But again, it's all logical.
Yeah.
It's all logical. But I think that's another really good takeaway, and we talked about that yesterday behind the scenes, that one of the most important reasons for facing fears is because you're going to have to do it forever. And the sooner you just start facing your fears, the more you'll realize that, oh, yeah, here's a series of fears that I faced, and here are the results I got based on that. This is actually probably pretty good for me. But you got to start somewhere. So wherever that is, maybe it's signing up to something, maybe it's canceling something, maybe it's saying yes to something, maybe it's saying no to something. Maybe it's sticking up for yourself, maybe it's sticking up for someone else, whatever it is. That is what I would end with. All right. If you are looking for a group of amazing human beings who are into self-improvement, into growth, figuring out the ego, confidence, self-worth, all of that stuff, please join our private Facebook group, Next Level Nation. We'll have the link in the show notes. We're all looking for a positive community, and that's exactly what Next Level Nation is.
We have a monthly meetup coming up. 1 second. June 6th, 2024, 5 p.m. So we're switching them to 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is meetup number 30, how to get more of the right stuff done. So I talked on yesterday's episode about how to design your life around your priorities, because a lot of times what happens is the things that we care about most are second, third, fourth, or fifth. And there's certain things that all of us do every single day. Brush our teeth, shower. There's certain things we do every day. How do we make the things that are most important become the things that we do every single day? I also want to talk about something called a keystone habit. When there's an arch, there's a stone at the top that holds the whole arch together. What's the keystone habit that holds your whole world together? For me, it's the Dreamliner. When I don't do my pen just whipped across the room. When I don't do my Dreamliner, I am less centered. Even Emilia's commented on that. She's like, you do your Dreamliner? I'm like, nope. She's, I can tell. I just don't have my rails for the day. There's something about a grounding practice first thing in the morning that'll change the game. So, Next Level Monthly Meetup number 30. How to get more of the right stuff done. June 6th, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The registration link will be in the show notes.
All right, so we don't know what we're doing tomorrow for episode number 1718 because we're jeffing, but we will figure it out and get ahead and all that happy jazz in the very near future. As always, we love you. We appreciate you. Grateful for each and every one of you. And at NLU, we do not have fans. We have family. We will talk to you all tomorrow.
Live with courage. Next Level Nation.